this young man named Toph. That afternoon at a bank, Toph is seen convincing a bank employee to get a loan that will be used to build a factory. There he told the story of his struggles in business. Toph is a high school kid who is addicted to the online game until one day while attending computer class, he actually did a transaction of buying and selling equipment in the game, and it turns out that from selling that item, he made a lot of money until he can buy some computers and his personal car. His success made his girlfriend named Lynn quite proud of him, but not with his parents. They prefer it if Toph studies hard, instead of always playing games. But he did not heed the wishes of his parents. Instead, he continued to run his game business until he graduated from school. Every day he just spends his money to buy game equipment until he was not accepted at the state university according to his parents' wishes, and even accepted at a private university which is quite expensive. Plus at that time his father's business was on the verge of bankruptcy. Their economic situation was difficult enough to send Toph to a private university, while his savings are getting dwindling day by day. Plus the online game account, its source of income, has been deleted by the game owner because it is considered a violation. But he didn't stop. He finally turned to the business of buying and selling electronic DVD players. But his efforts had to be in vain because it turned out that all the DVD players he bought were pirated and damaged, until one day his father advised him about the real world of doing business, where if we lose then we will lose everything. His father also said that he was willing to pay Toph as long as he was willing to study, but he refused and said that he could still pay for his own tuition. Long story short, Toph finally managed to pay his tuition fees, but with the money from pawning his father's amulet necklace, which he took secretly. After school, Toph took the time to stop by the food fair. There he saw a very sophisticated Thai fried bean maker. Toph, who has a business spirit, immediately bought the tool without thinking about the risks, until the next day he began to find out the process of making the fried beans. Then he started to open his fried bean stand in a mall. He tries to work hard and tries to divide his time between college and his fried bean business. There he was assisted by his faithful uncle to take care of his bean stand, but apparently no one glanced at the fried beans, until when he takes his girlfriend to the market, he finds out how the merchant offers goods, until he found the key to his sales problem was the location of the fried beans stand, which was less strategic. Finally, Toph immediately moved his stand from the parking area to the main lobby, where the fried beans stand will attract the attention of newcomers and returning visitors. And that's right, since moving location, the sale of fried beans went smoothly. In fact, he also has several branches on every floor of the mall, until when he was taking the exam, Toph had to leave his exam because he had to help his uncle sell. But his success did not last long. It turned out that the smoke from the frying pan had blackened the roof of the mall, and Toph had to fix the roof in one night, because if not, the mall will terminate his contract with him. Finally, he fixed the roof himself. Until nightfall, his mother felt sorry for her son and tried to help him, but suddenly the security guard came and chased them away because their time was up. Their Toph tries to bribe the security guard to give him extra time, but the security guard refused and even humiliated his mother because she could not educate her son to be polite and honest. This made Toph very upset. Plus his mother said that tomorrow Toph and his family had to move to China because his father's company went bankrupt. After thinking hard, he decided to stay in Thailand. He promised to study hard as long as his father would pay him according to his father's words before. His father agreed to the offer, but this made his mother very sad because she had to live separately from her son. Before leaving for college, Toph took the time to repair the roof of the mall, but after the roof of the mall was repaired, the mall suddenly terminated the contract. Plus Toph had to accept the fact that his house had been confiscated by the bank. Lucky he still has an uncle who faithfully accompanies him, even though his house has been confiscated. But secretly Toph and his uncle still live in his house. The constant problem made Toph worse off, until the moment he met Lynn. He couldn't say anything but cry in his girlfriend's arms. And to cheer up her lover, Lynn told Toph to taste her favorite seaweed. After tasting the seaweed, Toph took the initiative to make seaweed products with his uncle, but it was not as easy as he imagined. After exhausting the raw materials, they still haven't produced the savory and crunchy seaweed that make his uncle feel guilty for not being able to fry the seaweed properly. Because of that, Toph had to sell all his computers to buy raw materials and also their living expenses, until one night Toph saw the condition of his uncle lying on the floor. After making sure his uncle was better in the hospital, Toph then tried to fry the seaweed by himself, but after trying many times until the ingredients ran out, he still didn't get any results, until finally he was forced to fry the raw materials that had been exposed to yesterday's rain. But it turns out that it made Toph find out how to make savory and delicious seaweed. Long story short, the business is running smoothly. Even in a month, Toph can earn about $25,000. He then thought with his current income, he could help his family's problems, but when his father told him the debt reached $1 million, Toph was surprised. He realized that his efforts had not been able to pay off his father's debt, and beside that in the near future Toph will have to get out of his house because the bank has sold his house. Even though Toph is actually not willing to leave his house, because there are so many memories with his parents. There he accidentally found a sedative that was often consumed by his parents, that then made he increasingly worried about the condition of his family, until one night when he was buying snacks at the 7-Eleven supermarket, he got the idea to market his seaweed products in that supermarket. But Toph had to swallow another disappointment because his product had been rejected by the 7-Eleven manager because the packaging is less attractive and does not meet the standards. Heard that Toph again had to swallow disappointment because the only way to help his family is to cooperate with 7-Eleven. One day, Ayan, who was suspicious because Toph never went to college, finally came to Toph's house. There she find that Toph's house has been confiscated by the bank. Lin became angry because Toph never told her his problem. Lin, who was worried about Toph's condition, then she promised to help him by asking her father for help. But hearing that Toph was immediately angry and immediately decided Lin. He was forced to break up with Lin because he was afraid that Lin would not be happy if she continued to be with him. Toph's hopes for 7-Eleven didn't stop. He continued to improve the packaging and returned to the 7-Eleven office to promote his seaweed products under the Tao Kanoi brand. There Toph was willing to wait all day just to meet the manager. But after waiting, he realized that the manager didn't want to see him, until Toph annoyed and gave all the seaweed to the elevator guard. In the midst of his despair, Toph tried to confide with his mother. He said that all his efforts were in vain. All roads to success have been tightly closed. His mother then advised him not to give up and keep trying to get good grades. His mother thought that Toph was talking about his test scores, because all this time Toph still kept it a secret that he had quit college. Luckily, the Tao Kanoi product that Toph left behind was accidentally spotted by the manager, to the point of getting managers and other officials to pass the product. But before Toph sends his products, they must first do an inspection at Toph's factory. Therefore he then went to the bank to get a loan. But even though he had told the story of his tough struggle, the bank still couldn't provide a loan, because currently Toph is 19 years old and not old enough to receive a bank loan. Hearing that, he was again frustrated. In the end, the only way to earn money was to sell the only possession he had, his personal car, the car he had bought with his own labor, and then he rented a shop house to turn into a Tao Kanoi factory. After a few days he was very happy because even though there were some parts that needed to be repaired from the factory, 7-Eleven had sent a marketing permit for its products at the 7-Eleven supermarket. The following days they were busy preparing 72,000 pieces of Tao Kanoi to be deposited into 7-Eleven. Before leaving, Toph thanked to his uncle, who was always loyal to accompany him. At first an officer refused all of Toph's products because they were late from their scheduled hours, but when he saw the blood coming out of his nose, the officer then thought that Toph had worked hard to get to this point, until the officer finally received Toph's product with the provision that he should not be late again. Finally, Toph's hard work has paid off. With such joy, he then told his parents to come back immediately, because now he can help pay off his family's debt. And the movie's end.